All right, we are live again. Wow, it feels like it's like maybe a month or so. We have not been online. Yeah, guys, we missed you, man. It's been a while. How you all doing? Hope you're doing all right. Well, we decided that today we're not gonna miss it, regardless of whatever is happening around us. So, um, we said we are gonna come back and maybe continue where we left off. you know, so as you can see, um, I'm not properly, I'm not looking like I'm very healthy, but all the same, I'm not feeling so well. So I'm probably, you're not well as well. So, but we just have to like talk about this hot topic, which is how to know if your expectations are setting you up for a heartbreak. How you doing? It's been a while.
Hey.
I guess they missed you more because you usually like go online all the time.
Well, yeah, but I've lost my voice, so. But here we are. Some people have been looking for us all over the place. So,
Yeah, we are
uh,
really sorry about the. Obviously, I think there was a lot of meetings in church, so
yeah, millions in church and lots of
life
things. Life was happening.
life was really happening.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I think we should just make it real as we used to make it real, and we're not just going to sugarcoat anything. We just say that we feel like uh, the spirit leads, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Do you want to start with what you believe is expectations or unrealistic expectations or realistic expectations?
Well, when coming into a relationship, people come in with a lot of expectations. And when I listen to some people, I feel like their expectations are actually very unrealistic. Because we think that when you come into a relationship, um, everything that you they dreamed about as a young girl, um, or as a boy, if you're those kind, you're a guy that they dreams too, you just think that yeah, it just needs to fall into place like that, or you have an idea of how your a marriage that you like, a relationship that you like went, and you want to replicate it, in your own marriage in the future, and then you're in a relationship, in a courtship with someone, or you're planning to marry someone, and you want to see all the features that maybe you saw in your mom, or you saw in someone one lady that you really admire, or a man that you really admire. So that's like having unrealistic expectation, like when your demands are too idealistic, like, okay, this does not happen in this generation, but you think, yeah, that's it, that's how it is, that's how it must be. Impractical demands. Some people have like lofty demands, like, for example, a guy telling a very educated lady that has big dreams that, okay, after marriage, I want you to be a stay at home mom. Sometimes those are unrealistic expectations because you've not had a conversation with that person. And this is somebody that thinks, somebody that has dreams too, like you. So without compromise, and you want it to just happen like that, could be actually idealistic or maybe unrealistic. And maybe if the girl is smart enough, then she would rather jump out of that place before it becomes a chain on her neck, right? Like a prison yard. Because at the end of the day, if you're forced to do something that you never envisaged or planned to do without any consent or any conversation or discussion from you, at the end of the day, you're actually miserable in the marriage rather than happy in that marriage. You look forward to marriage, and You don't want to get there and find that the expectation of this man or the expectation of this woman is actually impossible to meet. Because it can create a lot of things. It can create discontent. It can create low self-esteem. It can create resentment. It can create a lot of things. So you want to make sure that when you are going into a relationship, your expectations are actually realistic. So I don't know. Well, that's my little definition of unrealistic expectations. But I mean, there's so many things, like so many expectations. I mean, the list is unexhaustive, but there are some, common things that I see. For example, how to give an example of an unrealistic expectation is thinking that, okay, when I get married, I'm going to be happy every time. All the time, it's just going to be laughter, joy, ecstasy, and all of that. But when you're not married, you think that because you watch all the fairy tales, Cinderella, and then she went away with that prince, and Prince Charming, and all of that. But that happens in the movies, right? Because you're kind of trying to tie your happiness, to the person that you're getting married to, or the person that's your partner, and you are expecting them to make you happy, and you forget that happiness, or you know personal fulfillment comes from within. You create your own happiness yourself. Okay, you cannot be an unhappy person within you and expect someone to just blow the wind of happiness on you, no matter what they do to you. I mean, I tell people this, like, what are the things that will make someone happy? For example, when you get a brand new house, you're happy, right? But after a while, you lived in the house, you get used to the house, and you're like, so that's it. It's just the feeling of owning a house. You buy a brand new shiny car, all these shiny objects that we run after, and you drive the car. After a couple of months, you don't feel that excitement, or it just becomes normal. So happiness is deeper than just having things, deeper than just someone doing something for you that makes you feel, you know, elated. It's more than that. It's something deeper than that. And people always have downtime, right? Everybody has downtime. The time when you just don't feel it, you don't know why. Some people will say it's your hormones. Some people will say it's it's that time in the month where you're just down, right? So what you have to, if you are someone who is fulfilled, you easily get out of that stage, right? And so if you're a very negative, moody person, marriage is not going to change that. You actually need therapy. You need to work on yourself together to become normal. Good. To just become normal. Healing. You need to heal. You need to get yourself out of whatever trauma you're dealing with. So that's one expectation that it's unrealistic.
So can we go through like some quick list of unrealistic expectations that we can think of, like on the spot now, like that women usually have? You said one, happiness all the time.
Yeah, happiness all the time, and
And sometimes,
think. Hmm?
go ahead.
Okay, another one is that some women will think that okay, because the guy is a very nice person, that they don't have to do much in their relationship. They don't have to bring anything to the relationship. He just has to accept me just the way I am. I don't have anything to add. Like the guy's simple. He doesn't like, there's no work. But that's not true. Marriage is hard work. You might have heard people say it. That
What do you
marriage
mean, like
is
work? What would a woman need to do in it?
well, there's efforts that you need to bring into the relationship. When I say hard work, it's
For
it's not
example,
like you being alone. Like when you're alone, you make your decisions yourself. You put a cup here, you expect to find a cup there. It's not going to move because you're alone. You have a way of setting your house or living your life or planning your day or planning your vacation. and nobody.
So you expect the guy to just like follow wherever you.
Yeah, you just want the guy to just flow with you, to just be like a worm that bends to anything that you say because he loves you, and so
Because
your word is
because
his
it's a child
command.
of God, Holy Ghost,
Yeah,
pure
so
Father.
yeah, but that's not true. It doesn't work like that. I mean, a man can indulge you for a while,
Mm-hmm.
but after a while, he's like, okay, and that's why you start hearing guys saying, "Come, stop being childish.
Oh,
Shake
wow.
yourself off of that. This is the real world, girl." And then you start feeling, oh, the guy has changed. He doesn't love me anymore. He doesn't care about my needs. He doesn't listen
Wow.
to me anymore. But that's not true. Nah. Marriage requires
So that's the danger,
communication.
like getting, connecting love to wrong expectations. And that can create a lot of tension, and then, which is not exactly true, that maybe the guy um, didn't even change his feeling towards you, but you're thinking that he his feelings has changed because he's not bending to all of your rules. He's
Yeah.
not bending to all of your tastes and preferences. Mm.
Yeah. A man is not a puppet. A woman is not a puppet, right? I
Okay.
mean, if you have that for a partner, then at some point you'll be like, this is not it. This is not what I signed up for. So you have to be able to communicate. Some women think that the man should know what they want. I
Mm.
mean, seriously, how can someone know everything that you want every time? If you don't say it, if you don't say, I want you to do this for me, please. I'll be happy if you do come with me to do this, or I'll be happy if you pick me up. I'll be happy if you say these kind of words to me. I'll be happy if you buy me flowers maybe every week, whatever it is you want.
I'll
You
be
know, you
flowers. Okay.
but you say you state your expectation. The point is you need to communicate your expectation, and then you have a conversation. Sometimes buying your flower every week is a good thing, some people, but sometimes it requires compromise. If, for example, you're saving money to buy a house, or you're saving money to invest, you want to save the flower money. So rather than getting it every week, maybe you can get
Yes.
it every quarter, or every month.
Yes.
That's compromise. That's having that conversation where you are able to, compromise, come to a compromise. And
It's just
and
like this so-called Valentine that just finished. I am sure a lot of relationships were strained that time because like especially a lot of women that are, following the Joneses online, thinking
yeah,
that, oh, see that guy's doing this for his wife or his partner. So
big lie.
why are you not doing that for me?
It's just a show.
Funny
Trust
enough, I
me.
was having this strong conversation with a friend, a female friend, and we were just talking about Valentine's Day. And she was like, what are your thoughts about Valentine's Day? I'm like, listen, Valentine's Day is not a thing that every relationship abides by, right?
Mhm.
And there are some relationship that Valentine is not, it doesn't exist, right? I was just telling her about, like, for example, um, my past relationships where Valentine, I told her that we 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 do things together, right? Prior to Valentine, so there's no point of waiting for one special day to actually um, show that you
You love
really
you.
like this person or not, right?
Every day is Valentine for me.
And she was like, "No, but still, it doesn't stop you from." I'm like, "Listen, if you're if you're going to marry a kind of person like me, you need to know that. I mean, Valentine is not as important as showing that I love you like every now and then. You don't have to
Yeah.
wait for a Valentine Day to show that I love you. No, like you need to
Yeah.
regularly show that you love this person. And if that person doesn't understand that Valentine's Day is not the ultimate day to show that you love that person, then I mean, to me, my type of person, my type of guy, we are not compatible at all. So
Mm.
um, imagine I was to marry that kind of person. There would be a lot of tension, right?
Yeah.
Because for her, uh, regardless of whatever I said, Valentine's Day is ultimate because she said, "Oh, you might see some people are posting and sharing their love." I'm like, listen, if you're going to be basing your relationship based on other people,
And
that's
what they
where
put out.
that's where jealousy comes into place. That's where sadness, feeling like you're not valued, start coming in, and
Hmm.
then before you know what's going on, um, it's not just about Valentine anymore. Now it starts becoming everything else. Like, oh, you didn't get me the car that this my friend is driving. See her
Yeah.
husband look at that.
Mm.
Um, every time we are just like not traveling for vacations. Like this, my other friend that is showing pictures in the sea, nice sea area, you know, Zanzibar, enjoying themselves and all of that, right? So, yeah, some of these things are crazy. I don't know if you have more that women, more unrealistic expectations that women have before I start
Well,
naming the ones that men have.
yeah, some people just think that some people just think that when I get married or my partner is going to fix all my problems, everything that I have as a problem, he's going to fix it. But that's, a partner is not
What's not my
Jesus.
problem?
Any problem, any financial problem, my family has needs. Yes, my partner is going to jump in and meet all my family needs. He's going to sort it. My family does not have a house. My partner is going to be the one to buy a house for them. My partner does not have a good car. Because I married him, he has to elevate us to a certain standard. Seriously? Really? No. They cannot solve every issue in your life. No. And when they have those kind of expectation and the guy is not meeting it all, they start comparing. Oh, the other guy, he built a house for his wife's family. Oh, the other guy, my father is still, driving this riggedy raggedy car. Why buying a better car for him? No,
Hmm.
no, that's not why you get married. That's like the wrong expectations ever. Your partner is not necessary. People say the man is the ATM, right? But not necessarily. It doesn't necessarily have to be your ATM.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, the man
Okay.
is ATM. But it's not necessary. It doesn't necessarily. And in the real world, where people have dreams, plans, goals, and they're going somewhere, they're not going to put everything down just to jump in and become your savior, right? They're not Jesus. You too. I always believe, for me, yeah, a man is a man, but at the same time, I just see him as a human being, and I feel that whatever a man is doing, I can do too. I don't have to lay all my burdens on the shoulders of a man. I'm not, maybe I'm not like every other woman, but I know there are a couple of women like me that
Hmm.
believe in hard work and working together and getting things done little by little on both sides, right? Meeting the needs that are really needs, not wants. So just get out of that expectations, like lofty expectations of when I get married, my husband will solve every problems in my family. Don't worry, don't worry. Don't worry. This man I married, he will sort everything out. Don't worry. Yeah, everything is gonna be fine. No, just look at things holistically and just be, down to earth, looking at what is obtainable in your marriage sincerely. And that's why men have to be open as well. Because when you're not open to your wife and they just feel, oh, he's working in that oil and gas and he's not doing this for me, and she doesn't necessarily know how much you have in your account, how much you have saved so far, and what are the plans that you had for this money even before you got married, even after you got married. But if you openly share without hiding things, without keeping things away, and you're just like the Bible said, naked and unashamed. So naked in your finances, naked in everything. There will be no lofty expectations because everything is out there in the bare. And if this lady, after knowing everything, still continues to pressure you, then she's the problem. She needs to get help, right? She needs to get help. So people can assume because they don't know, because they just imagine things. But when you let them know and then they know, then the assumptions will change. And if they're just vain people, then you know, okay, this person is just vain. So that's that. And another and um lofty expectations or unrealistic expectation is thinking that because you have now got married, your partner just does not have a life outside of you, right? So I say,
Well,
yeah, you get married, but because you get married, life does not come to a stop.
mm,
People have things that they were doing before they met you, before they got married. People
yeah.
have a pattern of life. They have things that they do to distress. Okay. Some women are very clingy. They just hang around you. They want to you see a woman just following the guy everywhere. He can't have a body time with his bodies anymore
Mm,
because the woman is always wanting to be there. That would make the guy to feel suffocated. Like it can be suffocating. Like you two get a life. Don't you have girlfriends? You know.
mm,
So a healthy relationship is or a healthy marriage later on, I mean, or a healthy before you get married, of course, you'll be courting and all that. But simply put, a healthy relationship is one where people, both parties or both partners are able to, have their own goals, their own friendships, mutual friends, but also
mm,
their own friends, their own bodies, their own, you know, outlets to blow steam. When I say blow steam, maybe the guy like to play soccer, goes to play, go to soccer field and just blow this steam. The lady likes to go shopping. Like me, I like to go window shopping. I like to just go to the mall and just go from one store to the other and try these shoes and try that dress and try that bag and just look around and just imagine and just having my me time. Doesn't mean I want to shop, not all the time. Of course,
mm,
it tempts me sometimes, but still, it's that me time. And sometimes I just want to be with the girls, just talk about girls' things. And a man will not have his place in that kind of conversation, right? And in the
mm,
conversation of a man, they want to talk about only politics, they want to talk about soccer, they want to talk about men things. A woman might not find a place in there. So there should be the time where everybody just go their way, do their thing, blow steam, enjoy themselves, and come back. And you would have something to talk about, like, hey, guess what happened? Oh, this guy, we were talking, and this came up, and this is what I think. And can you imagine, guys? Can you imagine how men think, how the world is going? You were like, oh, I went out with the girls, and this is what happened. And you have something to gist about, bring some
mm.
exciting news, and you guys can talk about it, right? But if you're always together, and anywhere I turn, I see you, everywhere I turn, you become like a pest, right? So you need that time to, go and just be yourself. Another expectation I see is that people believe that they will change their partner. And
Mm.
another side of
That's
it
a big
is
one.
that their partner will never change. It's a two-edged sword. Number one, they feel, oh, I'll change my partner and make him what I want him to be. They imagine that, okay, this guy, he's not empathetic, but maybe when I marry him and I show him a lot of love, he'll become more empathetic or more kind.
Mm,
It's not going to change. If someone is not kind, they're not kind. No matter what you do to them or what you give to them or how much romantic you shower them with so much love and cook for them and this and that. If they're not kind, they're not kind. They will
okay.
still speak unkind words to you. They'll still
Mhm,
hurt your feelings.
mhm,
So if you see that they're not kind, don't think that I'm going to change him into what I want him to be. I'm going to make him to be understanding. I'm going to make him to be patient. I'm going to make him to be no longer violent. If a guy is violent, a guy is, lazy, a guy is stingy, a guy is just not what you want in the marriage. Don't think that you can change them. If you have not been able to see any changes throughout your courtship, then I don't think that if you go into the marriage believing that you change him, you can't blame anyone because you knew what you were going into. You definitely knew that this is how this guy is. You cannot change him. And then the other side of changing now is people change over time. Things make people to some people can when I say people change over time, I mean that marriage make people bring out some things in people, right? A
mm,
woman can be very but can be someone that loves work, someone that is very just
Career
into
driven
career oriented, very career oriented. And after she has her first baby, something just goes out in
changes.
her. And she feels, oh, this little thing, this little being, I have to take care of him or her.
Yeah.
I think I can put my career on hold because I look into the eyes of this child and oh my God, how I just love him. And she
Mm-hmm.
starts to make changes in her life.
Mm-hmm.
And she wants something better. If, for example, she was a business tycoon that would travel all over the place, she wants to slow down on how much she travels now because she wants to have time to spend with her child. And for a man, for example, you grow, right? When you get married, you have responsibilities, children are coming, you start growing, you start evolving, and you don't expect things, events that has happened in a person's life to not have an effect with them, for them to just remain the same people that they were. Because now there are imprints, right? There are things that make them to just evolve. A man that maybe likes to go out all the time starts to stay more at home because he wants to spend more time with the children, he wants to spend more time with the family. And at the same time, can get married and be the guy is a home person, but likes to stay at home, and you become nagging and disturbing, and he starts to go out. Right? People evolve, people change, events, incidents, and life happens to people. So just keeping that in mind, you know that I'm not marrying someone that's going to be like a statue, but I'm marrying someone who is a human being and will change. So how do I make the person to change or maybe to be better, to evolve into a better version of themselves? And that's not saying that a person who is kind, who is
Mm-hmm.
not kind, will just evolve,
Mm-hmm.
except if they have a change of heart,
Yeah.
right? I'm not saying that people cannot change, that someone who is kind, unkind, cannot become kind. For example, someone who marries an unbeliever. Like we've had marriages of people who married and the guy is not a Christian, but they still, venture into that marriage and the guy becomes a Christian and changes completely and becomes a brand new person. That
Mm-hmm.
can happen. That's the work of grace. That's the work of what God can do in the life of a person. Yeah. So
And prayer.
and another thing, your partner cannot read your mind. I've said that already.
Mm-hmm.
Don't think that I'll just sit there, sulk, and the man will just look at me and will know what I want. You have to communicate clearly what you want. You have
Women
to
do that.
talk.
Women do that a lot.
Yes, I tell every lady that I meet that has some communication issues that you need to say what you want. And if you have
Maybe
said what you want and it's not done and it was clearly stated, then you know that you need to go to the next step, that there is something off, like the man is just not doing or not listening to you. So, and then how and why is he not listening to you? What are you doing wrong or what's going on in that marriage? But you have to express yourself. You cannot say, oh, he should have watched that when he said that, I just became quiet. He might not even notice that you became quiet. You were just talking and living his life. And you can't just keep putting things under the carpet without dealing with them. You have to resolve issues every time as they come on. Every time issues come on, you resolve them, you resolve them, you resolve them, so that it doesn't become a big mountain of problem that will explode, woof, and then it becomes a big mess. But when you're
mm,
resolving issues, like you're sweeping every time, and you can easily clean your surrounding when you do it every time, and your house will not always look so, very dirty and unkept. So that's it. So there's a lot of things that I know there's still many expectations that some other people might have. And so if you have your own expectations that please do well to share with us. But I think I've shared most of the things, and that thinking that when I get into marriage, because he's a Christian man, we'll never have problems, like we'll never have any conflict or disagreement. It's an unrealistic expectations. Let's put it out there. There is
mm.
no marriage between two people where they don't have instances where they disagree. Anybody that says, oh, since I got married 20 years ago, me and my wife have never disagreed, never had any issues, we've never been on opposing stand. That's a lie. Say it
Well,
boldly. Big lie.
maybe some people just don't conflict.
then something is off. They are not truthful to themselves. When I say people disagree in different ways, right? I'm not saying
Mm.
that they must like disagree and yell at each other. That's
Because
the fact that
I've heard some old couples say, we've not really had a big fight.
no, there's a difference between having a conflict, resolving a disagreement,
Mm,
and having a big fight. So I'm not talking about big fight. I'm not talking about fighting, breaking things, yelling at each other, and the whole house is shaking. No,
mm,
I mean disagree, and people disagree and resolve their conflicts in different ways. So a disagreement is like saying, I don't like this. I feel offended by how you talk to me. I don't like it. And sometimes the guy says, what's there? I didn't say anything wrong. And then you're unhappy. And of course, you get upset for some time. And, there's a break in communication. And you guys, because you're Christians and you know that you're going to pray and God needs to answer your prayer, you come together and you resolve it. That's conflict resolution. So it's not about fights, hitting each other. That's not what I mean by a couple that says they've lived for 20 years and have never had disagreement are lying. I'm not saying that
mm,
every couple fight and hit each other. Of course, that I don't want to see that. I don't want to see a a couple where you guys don't respect each other to the point that you can yell at each other, fight each other, shake each other. No, that's wrong, 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 wrong. But
mm,
when I say disagreement, is conflict where you guys don't agree on something and you have to hatch it out.
mm,
That's what I mean. So disagreement about maybe how you handle something, what you said in the public, how you address them in the public, doing something that they didn't like, and then maybe not following something that you guys agreed on, and one person is not following it, and one person just breaks the rule or does something that the family normally knows that we don't do this, but they do it, and then the other party is upset, and then you have
mm,
a point where you have to resolve those things. Sit down and you have a conversation. Sometimes the woman might cry, the man might cry, might be upset, and you resolve it. So thinking that because we're Christians we'll never had issue, I never have, and that we will never do something that will make me cry. That's a lie. It might happen because you're trying to make yourself understand. The man is not understanding, and you're frustrated, and you cry, and you're upset, and you're like sad and moody, and it takes some time. Maybe after a while, and you guys resolve it over time. So thinking that it will not happen, then you are not ready. It's gonna happen,
mhm.
and you have to sit down and talk through them. So I think that's a good amount of. There might be some that I can't remember
Yeah.
right now,
So
but
one big one that men usually have is like men usually expect that when they get married, their wife is going to be like the perfect chef, cooking like their mom. Wow, you know, the,
that
the
was
exact,
wait,
the
that was something I was going to add. Over time in your marriage, okay, when you get married, an expectation is to think that every time the passion flame will be burning.
mhm,
When you get married for a while, you might begin to experience, like dullness in your passion. Okay, because I always say there are different stages of of a marriage. So the flame of love needs to be fanned every time. You need to fan it
mhm.
because if you're not
Yeah,
careful,
weakness.
it start to fade. Right?
Mm,
You love each other, but that passion that you had at the beginning of your marriage is like not burning like before. So what you do is that you need to fan it. How do you fan it? By following the love languages that you have. You have different love language. Some people is act of giving. Some people is, kind words. Some people is, um, different love languages, right? You have different love
yeah,
languages. People have different love languages, appreciation. There are
words of
different. Just look
affirmation.
at the five love languages that there
Yeah,
is, and know which one is your partner's love language. And if it's gifts, acts of service, then do something for her in the house, like just take care of the kids and let her just sleep. That could be big, big, big for her. So over you just keep doing things, you surprise each other. You do things that, wow, I didn't know you remember that. Or you find an old letter that you wrote to her when you guys were firing in love, and then you bring it. Then you say, hey, and you send it to her by text message, and you send some sweet, sweet words, and then you guys laugh about it. Or you travel together and you have some time together. So those are some of the things that you need to do to keep the marriage, going. And if you
So
don't,
what about the
maybe
single people? How do they keep that flame going?
huh?
The single people, how do they keep the flame going?
Well, the flame will still be there. They've not gotten married yet.
You think so?
It's shocking them till they get married and
Well,
start
some
living
people, you know,
together.
they're in a relationship for a long time, maybe 4 years.
It's not advisable though. Not advisable to be in a
Not
relationship
advisable,
for
but
such a
it's
long
there.
time.
People are doing
It's
it.
not advisable because things happen. So, but if it happens that you guys are in a relationship for a long time, for example, if I don't tell people to do that, I say get married, even if you are far apart, get married. Get married and work on the papers for you guys to come together. But if you're in a relationship for a long time, it's hard, eh? It's hard to keep the flame burning all the time. When you almost become like married people where you're not living together, and so there's no time,
Mm.
nothing that keeps you together. So it's easy for you to start feeling like the cord of love is like stretched and getting cracks. But
Well, to me, I feel
if
like
it so happen,
it's not too different from when you're married. So it's like, okay, at this point, you are long into the relationship. You know each other very, very well. And the things that you did at the beginning to make that person feel a certain way, I think those are the things that you can still reintroduce from time to time
recreate them.
to make your partner really feel
Yeah.
like, oh my God, that kind of thing. And also, most times you have to be creative, you have to grow, because like both of you are growing. You have to think about interesting way to keep that flame alive.
Mm-hmm.
If not, that your partner might get
Yeah.
bored, right? So you have to work on your toasting skills, your relationship mentality needs to change a bit because when you are at the beginning is different from when you are like already into it like for a long
Yeah.
time.
So
So you have to change your
unrealistic expectations from men. You're saying sorry I cut you off.
yeah. So unrealistic expectation for men, number one is like their bellies, right? Most men don't play with their bellies, and they feel like this woman I'm getting married to, she needs to be able to cook as good as my mama. If you can't cook as my mama, is a problem. That
Mm.
means you don't know how to cook, right? So, but unfortunately, a lot of women these days might not necessarily know how to cook very well. And this sister that you're probably courting might be a very, very nice person in other areas, but she might
Yeah.
not be the best in the kitchen, right? So you just might just probably get used to it and I just want to also address the people that are probably looking at dating a different ethnicity where um, food types is different, right? I was actually speaking to one of my Indian friends, and she was like worried about dating outside of um, her people, right? She was like, man, if I get married to somebody that's outside of my race, food is a very big thing. Like food is so different. So how are we going to deal with that? Like even there are
Yeah.
some things that Indians like me just get, right? Um, that probably a non-Indian will not get. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. But the truth is, if you are deep into this person that you want to get married to or you are going to get married to, what happens is you realize that you start learning a lot of the
From
unspoken
their
words
culture, yeah. That's true.
that happens in this other culture, right?
Yeah.
So unless that person is really, really not into you, right, they will not change in that way. Or if
Mm.
you are decided that okay, this is the person that I want to settle down with, I mean, you will definitely have to like learn some of the weird things that to you it doesn't make sense, but like you have to look at it from their own point of view and get to learn from that. Um, and let's even say, like for example, you're married to somebody that is now I'm not talking about ethnicity now. I'm talking about like spiritual levels, right? It's different. If you're married to somebody that's way, you want to get married to somebody that's very, very spiritual, and yourself, you're not that spiritual. You have to understand that that person might be doing things a certain way that is really out of what you really imagine, right? You have to kind of um, adapt yourself to that person, and vice versa. Maybe you are the person that is too spiritual, and you're getting you want to get married to somebody that is not at your own level. You have to also understand that they might not understand the Bible the way you do, right? And
Yeah.
sometimes that can be a really, really, really big
Big
problem.
problem. Yeah.
Like, why is this my partner not praying seven
Hmm.
times a day?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So, but it is your duty that one another you should help yourselves to grow, right? And you have to be very, very gracious to one another. The way you speak to yourselves matters, right? Um, the Bible says, "Let your speech be always gracious." Colossians chapter 4 verse 6. Um, and you also need to prioritize God in your relationship because, like, there are some times that your relationship go to like almost ending, and that's where you have to realize that only God is the only way to get out of it. So you have to make sure that both of you are putting God first, regardless of your relationship. You have to know that first of all, you're a Christian, and then second of all, you're in a relationship. So if you're a Christian, you have to think, oh, what would Jesus do, right, in this kind of scenario?
Mm. Mm.
And you find out that maybe the thing that is upsetting you so much will just fade away in time because you've decided to take um, the relationship to God and look at it from the point of view of a Christian rather than point of view of I'm a male or I'm a female because these days everybody's like uh, this is what is the right thing to do or this is what is the wrong thing to do. Everybody has a way of wanting things to go,
Yeah.
but sometimes it's not always the case, right?
Mm.
And another thing is you have to be selfless in most cases. There
Yeah.
are sometimes that there are certain things that you really, 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 really want, but it's not actually possible in that relationship at that particular time. So you need to be a bit patient, or you need to be selfless in some way and let that person be happy for that moment. And also, your partner, in turn, when it's your time to be happy, you're going to
Yeah.
get happy as well, right?
Yeah.
Um, Another thing is you need to really align your goals and values together.
Yeah.
Um, if somebody is trying to be focused on, I'm going to work so much that I'm going to make so much money,
Yeah.
um, while your partner is like, yo, chill, we don't need that much money, right? We just need to be well enough, live a happy life, die, go to heaven, whatever, that kind of vibe. You need to actually like sit down and talk about it so that um, you don't feel like, why is my partner not ambitious enough? Or why is my partner too ambitious, right? Um, that way you don't clash too much. And obviously, uh, as much as possible, you need to seek for counseling where you need counseling. When the thing
Yeah.
has gone beyond both of you uh, way of handling it, you need to bring sometimes just bringing a mediator in between. It will be actually the solution to solving the problem.
Yeah.
Sometimes partners just don't let go, even though they know that they're wrong. They just don't let go just because of ego or whatever. But if you introduce a third mediator, it kind of helps to um, just like, okay, I love you, but still, I'm gonna let it go, right? That kind of stuff, or apologizing. So these are the things that you should consider probably before getting into your relationship or your um, or probably for you that is watching this, you are already married and you are getting pulling out your hair like what's going on here. We are supposed to be this, we are supposed to be that. Your expectations are way too unrealistic. I hope that this video is able to like give you some direction as to uh, looking at things a bit differently, right? And if you have any questions, guys, if you have any questions, make sure you message us on Facebook or you can email us here, and we are going to be able to help you out or answer you. And if you want us to talk about anything else, you have something in mind that is bothering you, message us as well, and then we can talk about it. I guess we've said all that we need to say in this video.
Yeah, the final thing I would just like to add is remember to put God at the center of your relationship. Because when you build your relationship on Christ as the foundation, you know that that relationship is not going to sink. Bible tells us of the man that built his house on the sand, and the wind blew, and the storm raged, and that house fell, and the fall was great. The fall was great. And the other man built his house on the rock. The wind blew, the rain fell, and the house still stood. So
Mm,
Christ is the only foundation upon which you can build a very strong relationship. So
yeah.
prioritize, your relationship with God. Pray together. If you're in a relationship, you're planning to get married, remember to find some time out of your busy schedule, out of your lovey talk to pray together. Pray together, study the Bible together, share your studies together. When you read the Bible and you got some, you know, inspiration, something touched you, something marked you, share the scripture verse together, discuss about those passages so that you guys can both grow spiritually together, encourage each other to grow spiritually. Don't pull the other party down, but encourage one another to grow. The Bible says in Matthew chapter 6, verse 33, that we should seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and every other thing shall be added unto you. You want peace in your marriage? You want joy, you want happiness, you want, wealth, anything that you want. The Bible said we should seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. So if you're in a relationship, make sure that the righteousness of God is in the middle of it all. Don't do anything that you cannot do before the Lord Jesus Christ. Don't engage in any activities that will not make Jesus proud, that you cannot even do in front of your pastor, talk less of the front of God, Christ watching you. And don't forget that God is always the silent, person in any relationship. He's always watching. There's an eye always watching you. So live that righteousness of God so that at the end of the day, every other thing that you want, that you're expecting, that you're praying for can be added unto you, easily, effortlessly. Okay. Yeah, so that's all I wanted to add. Thank you so much for coming to join us or listening to us. And we hope to do this a little more. If you learned or got something from this conversation, please do well to share it with your friends and give us a thumbs up. Like our video, share it, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel if you have not done so yet. Follow the page if you have not done so yet. And we're also on Instagram. Follow us on Instagram, okay? So that's it. That's
All
all I
right.
had.
Have a lovely weekend.
You too. Bye, everyone.
Bye.